Now then, we're back again. That was some long COVID, wasn't it? And it's diesel heater time, because we have a brand new, awesome bit of spanking new kit to show you that is unlike any other heater we've ever shown you before, because it is... Can you feel the tension? A self-powered diesel heater. What is a self-powered diesel heater, you might ask? Who would it benefit, you might ask? Where do you buy your pants? You might not ask. Let's take a good ruddy peeky cheeky look then, shall we? Okay, so first thing you might notice is the name. Maxpeedingrods. Recognise it? We've recommended a few of their heaters in the past due to their superior accessory kits. So you'd assume this one would be no exception. But we'll see. The next thing you might notice is the sheer bulk of the thing. Look at it, it's huge! Well, as far as diesel heaters go. Look at it next to this Sunster all-in-one heater. Wow. And it's heavy. So why is it so big? That's what she said. What are they hiding in there? Ooh, this is new. Never got a carry case with a heater before. We'll get back to that in a bit, but let's see what else is in the box. Are you ready? Oh, that's just one more push, I can see its head. And there it is. Congratulations, Mrs. Life, it's a Maxpeedingrods self-generating heater, and isn't she a beauty? Look at her. Just look at her. That's so beautiful, they should be hanging it in the Louvre. So first things first, it's quite heavy, but let's be fair. There's a lot more to this heater than any other all-in-one heater, so we'll forgive that. However, it is a portable heater, so the weight is one big thing to consider if you plan on carrying it for long distances and you're not Jeff Capes. With the weight of this in one hand and a 10 litre can of diesel in the other, you're easily looking at 30 kilograms of lugging right off the bat. So if that's your game, you might want to get yourself some kind of trolley. But if you want to just chuck it in the back of a vehicle, it's perfect and it's ready to go. Off you pop. Now let's take a closer look at the heater itself and see what it's all about. We have quite a few stickers on the outside here. Some are to make it look good, but some are actually functional. So let's take a look at the important ones. Right here we have the operating and safety instructions. This is so you don't make silly mistakes like try to run it on coal or something. Basically all it tells you on the outside of the heaters is the bit that most people skip past in the instruction manual right before they make silly mistakes. So it's a good idea having that there. All the safety instructions are the same as with all diesel heaters, so have a read of them quickly so you know for the future, but it's all pretty basic stuff really. The operating instructions, however, they're a different kettle of fish. Why would you have a kettle of fish? These operating instructions are unique to this heater, so completely different to anything we've ever seen before.
Are you as excited as I am?
By the sounds of it, no.
As you can see, there are new details here that might seem weird to anybody that has had a diesel heater before, but trust us, this is one of the easiest heaters to use that we've ever had in our possession. So let's go through them. First of all, it tells you to make sure your battery is charged to 15 volts. The heater is supplied with these 4 lithium batteries, and if you're lucky they might arrive fully charged. This would mean that you need no external power source at all to power the heater, just the heater and a can of fuel. But it's probably best to give them an initial charge. Why not, eh? Why not? And charging them couldn't be easier with this here charger supplied. It can charge all of your batteries at once and can be charged from 12 volts via this SIG lighter cable, or with 240 volt mains power with a decent USB-C cable. They don't supply a USB-C cable with the kit, so our suggestion is to throw one into the carry case for convenience. If you don't have a USB-C cable, what planet are you on? They are available pretty much everywhere, even Poundland.
But not everything's a pound.
And once you've charged them the first time, if you use the heater often enough, you'll never really need to charge them again, as the heater charges them as it runs. If you don't use the heater often, the batteries will run down a bit over time, so you would need to check they are fully charged before you use your heater. Good thing about these batteries is if you lose or damage them, they're easily and affordably replaced as they sell for peanuts on AliExpress. Although peanuts aren't even cheap these days, are they? Nothing is. I'm sick of it. I'm going down the day centre and going to tell them. So you told me anytime you try to... Now let's take a look at where the batteries go. Here. There are a few things under this flap that we might need to mention, but first things first, let's get the batteries in. So when installing these, you need to alternate the orientation of the batteries, as in, the first battery slot, the positive needs to go to the top. On the second slot, the negative needs to go on the top, and so on. So that's the batteries charged and installed. Let's see what else the operating instructions say. It says that basically if you forget to charge your batteries enough to get the heater started like a dumpski, forget about it. No, don't forget about it. It's fine, as long as you have a vehicle, you're out of the woods. All you need to do is start your engine, so you don't run your start battery down, plug this end of this cable into your lighter socket, and this end of the cable into this little socket right here, under this massive flap, and start your heater. The heater will then start up using the power your alternator is generating, and once it is fully running, you can disconnect the cable from both your vehicle and the heater will run by itself and charge the batteries too. So hopefully, as long as you don't leave it too long before using the heater again, the batteries will be fully charged for the next start up. So what's everybody thinking so far? Pretty easy, right? Comment below if you'd like to take this out on a date. And where would you like to take it? How is your sex life? Okay, so that's the safety and operating instructions covered-ish. We still need to show you how to use it later on in the video, but it's very easy. Let's look at some of the more important stickers on the heater for now. This sticker here lets you know that it's self-powered, so you should keep your distance. This heater comes with a fuel gauge sticker. This is always handy with all-in-one heaters, as it's impossible to see how much fuel is in the ones we've covered in the past. So that's a nice touch. As you can see, it has a few different measurements on it, but it starts at 50%. So when you have more than half a tank, it won't show on the fuel gauge. When you have less than half a tank, it will. I probably would have done a full fuel gauge if it was me, but at least you know when to start thinking about refilling with this one. And that's good enough. Let's see what other important stickers we can find. This one just looks like a picture, but it's showing you where the pump is, and that is very important if you ever need to get to it. It would be a right ball ache taking the whole heater apart to get to the pump, so they've added this handy little access point for us. They also supply an Allen key in the kit in case you do need to take anything apart. So let's take a look under the plate while we're here, before chucking this on the pile of other Allen keys who constantly conspire to hide the one you need. Looks like they've done quite a good job with soundproofing in here, and have wrapped the pump with some foam to stifle the noise and vibrations. Another nice touch. Another thing we can see looking in here is they have used the soft type of fuel line. We normally have a problem with this, well, 3 problems to be exact, which we've discussed at length many times. The first is, a lot of companies cheap out and the fuel lines they supply in the kits are not fuel grade. But this one we've been assured is, so it shouldn't deteriorate and crack and leak like some other soft fuel lines supplied with these heaters do. The next problem we have with them is that they can easily kink. This problem's been addressed here, and they have a metal cable running through it making that impossible. And the final problem we have with the fuel line, one of the main causes of error code 10 or 8 we get in our group, is huge airlocks created by tiny cavitation bubbles, which can build up on the bends of soft fuel lines, starving the heater of fuel. We believe that the wire cable running through this fuel line will prevent that too. Soft fuel line does have upsides, that's why they insist on supplying it with heaters sometimes. It dampens the vibrations from the pump, and there are less connections that could develop a leak. So it is good to see these problems have been addressed on this heater. So normally we would turn our nose up at soft fuel line, but in this case we'll give it a thumbs up, or at least a chance at impressing us. Now then, are there any other important stickers on this heater? Yes, this one's also quite important. By this we assume they don't mean don't use red diesel, zero or heating oil. We think they just mean don't be stupid and put petrol in this mofo. That being said, if you do use heating oil or kerosene instead of diesel and your heater breaks, don't blame us. And that brings us to our final important sticker, this one. This just tells us about the heater. The model number, which is the MH04D Pro, the power rating, which is 40 watts, although most people don't need to know that as it's self-powered. It shows you the voltage, which is 12 volts, and what fuel to use, which is diesel. Now we've finished with all the important stickers, let's take a look at the rest of the heater. As we've already had a quick shufty under the flap, we're going to start there. At the top of the next power socket we showed you earlier, the one for starting your heater from the vehicle if your batteries are charged, you'll find a USB socket. This isn't for charging your batteries or starting your heater. This is for charging accessories like phones or torches etc. while the heaters are running. The heater generates enough power to power the heater, charge the heater's batteries and an accessory all at the same time. So as well as an off-grid heater, you can also use it as a power bank when needed. That'll come in handy when you're in the middle of nowhere with no leisure battery. Another thing we have under the flap is some LED lights.
Yes, what are they?
I have no idea.
We don't have a clue what they do, but I'm sure they're important in some way. And the last thing under the flap is the control panel. It's very basic and we'll come back to this later when we do our heater test. Moving away from the flap now, let's take a look at the top of the heater where we find a remote control, a very sturdy ammo box style handle and an upgraded fuel cap. The handle is very sturdy and that's a good thing because the heater is proper heavy. We don't see this breaking at all though. The supplied remote allows you to operate from a slight distance if you want to. And it does have a screen on it so you don't have to just hit it and hope. You can see on the screen that what you're pressing is actually doing something, unlike most diesel heater remotes. So that's a thumbs up. How many thumbs is that so far? I have to get the toes out. Don't get excited, Quinton. We actually forgot to test the remote, oops, but we're sure it would have worked as it's supposed to if we did. I mean, everything else did. The upgraded fuel cap is a good thing, as the caps always have a breather holes in them so the pumps don't suck the tanks in when they pulse. For a portable heater this isn't a good thing, as if they're not stored upright fuel can leak out the hole. With the upgraded fuel tank cap, if the heater is on its side or upside down it won't leak as the hole gets blocked off. So if you go around a corner too quick and the heater flips over in the boot of your car, you won't be left with a puddle. Now we've seen the top of the heater, let's look at the bottom. Are you a leg or a breast man? No, that didn't hit right. As you can see there isn't much to see here. The bottom is totally flat with nothing going on. This means that you can put it on a table, grass, concrete, etc, whatever, without causing any damage because it doesn't get hot. The exhaust for this heater is on the side, meaning you can put it pretty much anywhere. So now feels like a good time to open up the accessory box and find the exhaust. Here is the exhaust. It comes in 6 separate pieces but is very simple to put together. First you have this piece. This is the bit that attaches to your heater. You just line this little dot up here with the slot, push it in and twist. That's it. The next bit that goes on is the silencer, or muffler if you're a wrong un. This just pushes on like this. Bosh. That should leave you with these 4 pieces. The thin tube is the actual exhaust pipe and the thicker goes over the top and will protect you from getting burned by the hot exhaust pipe. They're very easy to put together too. First start with the exhaust pipe, push them together like this. They'll only fit together properly one way. Next you take the 2 thicker pieces and push them together too. Again they'll only fit together one way so you can't make any mistakes. Now grab the exhaust pipe and attach it to the silencer that's already attached to the heater. Next take the heat shield piece and lower it over the exhaust pipe. At the top of the heat shield you will see a jagged circle in the middle. You need to wriggle the exhaust pipe through this hole. And voila, that's the exhaust installed. Super easy and doable in about 30 seconds, once you get the hang of it. The only other things you get in the accessory kit that we haven't mentioned yet are the instruction manual, which is really easy to follow. Some ducting insulation sleeves and some ducting. But why have they included 2 pieces of ducting? Let's take another look at the heater. Beautiful. This is the end of the heater the heat comes out of. One of the pieces of ducting attaches here like this. And if we take a look at the other end of the heater, we'll find the fan end. The other piece of ducting goes on this end of the heater. And Bob's your uncle. This is something different that you don't get with many all-in-one heaters. They've made the fan end of the heater accessible. This is important for 2 reasons. The first is the one that most people know about, and that is recirculating warm air from the space you are heating so it heats up more and quicker than if you were always trying to heat cold air from the outside. As the air only passes over the heater body for a split second, it can only get so warm in that amount of time, so the air that comes through the vents might only ever get lukewarm on cold days. If you recirculate the warm air from the space you are heating, the air that passes over the heater gets slightly warmer each time it passes over the heater, making it heat up quicker and hotter. This also can save you a lot of fuel if you are the type of person to turn the heater off when you get warm enough. The other reason, and the most important reason why you want to recirculate air, is so you don't suck exhaust fumes through the fan end of the heater and down the ducting into your living space. The exhaust pipe is quite close to the fan end of the heater, so on calm days without the ducting attached to the fan end of the heater, fumes could be quite easily sucked up. It's much safer to take the air from the enclosed room you are heating. So Maxpeedingrods have done us all a solid by designing it like this. Unfortunately, we don't have the space to try these insulation sleeves out in here, so we'll have to wait until we're outside doing our test. So let's get it all packed into its little bag and get it outside. This bag's actually quite well designed. Everything fits inside neatly with space for extra bits and pieces if you need, and also it has extra storage in the outside too that you can use for whatever you want. It also has molly webbing all the way around the outside, so you can fit all types of attachments to the outside, no problem at all. They really have thought this through. Oh, and a couple of last things we should mention before we do the test. The heater isn't a standard direct copy of a German heater, or exactly the same under the cases as every other heater we've ever tested. As you can see inside it is completely different. There's much more going inside this heater than others. This is important for two reasons. One is they don't look as easy to DIY fix yourself at home. It's completely new, so things will be different inside. We suggest getting in contact with Maxpeedingrods if anything goes wrong with one, as we are new to them too, and need to work them out first. And also, spare parts will not be generic at all. They most likely need to be purchased direct from Maxpeedingrods, so we hope they will have all the spares available when they're needed. Right, that's enough waffle, let's get on with the test run. Right, now that we have it outside, let's see how long it takes us to put it together and fill it up. We couldn't find the spout for our diesel can or a funnel, so being the resourceful chaps we are, we improvised. We can't see a fuel tank size written anywhere, but it took about half of this 10 litre can, so we're guessing it's about 5 litres. As the manual says, it's good for roadside emergencies, so we decided to wait until an opportune moment, like a storm. And then this happened.
We'll be hit by heavy snow and high winds tonight.
It's the coldest night of the winter.
Heavy rain, strong winds and heavy snowfall.
Filled with fear from all of these warnings, and stuck out in the bitterly cold of 7.5, we needed some serious heat and fast, so we got the heater set up. So what we did was open the driver's side window enough to get the ducting in, and then wound the window back enough to hold the ducting in place. We then bunched up 3 of these space blankets and stuffed them in the gap, just to make things easy and realistic for a survival situation. A very simple and quick setup. We did have to put the heater on a table because the ducting wasn't long enough to reach from the floor, so that is one thing that needs looking into. Because there's no way your average fold away camp table's taking that weight. But now let's see how quickly we can get the car from 7.5 to 30 degrees Celsius. So now while we wait for the heater to start doing its thing, let's talk about a few of the heater's features. As we've mentioned already, the heater is self-powered. It also has automatic altitude adjustment. Why is this important? Because at high altitudes the air is much thinner with less oxygen in it. Unless you adjust the air-fuel ratio accordingly, your heater simply won't burn the fuel correctly. But you don't need to add more air being sent in, you need to reduce the amount of fuel, and it's a whole confusing thing. With a lot of heaters you have to do the maths yourself and adjust the heatings manually, and it's not easy, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Luckily with this heater, you don't have to know what you're doing. You don't even have to think about it, it just does it for you automatically without you asking or knowing. Anyway, that's enough of that, let's have a quick check inside the car and see how it's going. Nice, it's starting to do its thing and it's warming up nicely. Straight out of the box. All we did was fill it up with fuel and press 2 buttons, and we've had a faultless start-up. We didn't even have to charge the batteries as they came fully charged. Let's talk about how it knows what the temperature inside the car is right now, even though it doesn't have a thermometer in the car. As you can see on the screen here, it has an intake temperature. This means that the thermometer records the temperature of the air going into the fan side of the heater, and as the air that is being sent to the fan side of the heater is coming from the inside of the car, it knows what the inside temperature is without you needing a controller inside. Pretty cool, huh? So although it's only 7.5 C outside now, the heater is reading higher, because that's the temperature inside the car right now. And it's still going up. It's been a few more minutes now, so let's get back in and see how it's getting on. As you can see, it's really starting to work now, and it's only been 5 minutes in total so far. And we've now reached 30°C from 7.5°C, but how long did it take to raise the internal temperature of a Corsa by 22.5°C? Just a few minutes. Wow, and that is stupidly fast from the first ever turn on. Ooh. You'll be toasty and safe from a slight chill in no time at all. But is it any good at heating bigger areas? Yes. Yes it is. After we finished with the car, we put it inside this rickety, uninsulated damp brick garage. It was still only 7.5°C outside and we left it running for half an hour. In that small amount of time, the garage had reached 19°C. That's really impressive. We also did another test that we didn't get footage of, in which we left the heater running with a full tank of fuel. When we returned 5 hours later, the heater was still powering itself, and there was still some fuel, just about. Well, a tiny amount. All in all, we're very impressed with the heater. It does what it's supposed to do and it does it well. All you need is the heater and some fuel and you're good to go. It's really easy to use, probably the easiest heater we've ever tested. It looks good, it's not that noisy compared to other units. We couldn't hear the pump at all once it was up and running. The accessory kit's well thought through, the batteries are easy to replace if needed, it can be started from a 12-volt outlet if your batteries are too low, it can charge your accessories, it can be thrown into the bag and into your vehicle and with the fuel still in it due to its upgraded fuel cap. You can accidentally brush against the exhaust without giving yourself third-degree burns because of the exhaust shield. It has good functions, making it very easy to use and you don't have to prime it so you can't flood it, and it can go from the bag to pumping out hot air in less than 5 minutes. All pretty good. Yeah, do you know what that is?
Brilliant! I kept going, blimey, this is too brilliant!
Basically, we really like pretty much everything about this heater except for one small thing, and that is the length of the ducting. We'd like to see each piece twice as long so it could be left on the floor and still reach a window or at least a car, but preferably a van too. We had to use the table in our test and we definitely wouldn't have had anything in the car to lift it off the ground if we weren't at home. But with that being said, we do highly recommend this heater as a very easy to use, simple, portable solution for pretty much any situation. It's perfect for camping trips, rushing, off-grid buildings, roadside emergencies, power cuts, rooftop tents, no-build campers, building site. If you want to get your hands on this heater, take a quick look in the video's description for a link to this with a discount. You can also find links to anything else there that we've mentioned in this video, like the spare batteries in case you need some. Thanks for taking the time to watch our video. We are Van Life, a complete survivor's guide. If you liked, please subscribe.